Well, that sucks. Now, whether I'm talking about the situation or the movie, well, let's find out. Old is brought to us by director M. Night Shyamalan and stars Gael Garcia Bernal, Vicky Creeps, Rufus Swell, and Alex Wolff. So I think it goes without saying that Shyamalan's career has had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and at this point, we really don't know what to get from the guy when he releases a new movie. We might get a Sixth Sense, a Signs, or even a Split. Or we might get The Happening, After Earth, or The Last Airbender. We just don't know anymore. However, in the last few years, he has been releasing better, smaller movies. Even his last film, the very divisive Glass, while it did have its issues and its detractors, it was still a well-made movie. The quality of the ending of the film was a bit debatable, but overall, it was still an interesting, well-made film. So here we are with his newest mind-bending thriller, Old. Now the premise here is pretty cool. We got a group of people on vacation that all go to a private beach. And after being on this beach for a while, they find, and no, this is not a spoiler, that everyone's aging is accelerated here. Time's not accelerated, just the aging process. After finding that they're unable to leave this beach, they now have to figure out how to get out of here before they all age out. Older people are approaching death, middle-aged people are getting older, and kids are growing up very quickly here. The premise, much like many of M. Night Shyamalan's premises, is very cool. And I did like the story of Old. I liked where it went. I liked the resolution, more or less, that we got. And as the movie went on, I did start to get a bit afraid that we weren't going to get a resolution. It was all going to be left very ambiguous. But no, in classic M. Night Shyamalan style, we do get a payoff. We do get the payoff we've been waiting for. We know by the end what's been going on here. More or less we do. There are a few details that are left out, but the really important things, why these things have been happening, we do get answers to that stuff. And the answer we got was fine. I mean, it was okay, I guess. It wasn't as good as the journey getting there, but it was okay. It was satisfying enough. It's not gonna go down in history as one of M. Night Shyamalan's great twists or anything, but it was at least satisfying. The movie also looks really good. It is shot in very interesting ways. Lots of panning shots. The camera is almost constantly moving, and people are moving in and out of frame as things are happening. It's almost like the camera is another character there on the beach while all these things are going on. And this character can only see so many things at once. It was a really neat way of shooting the film, and it made it seem like something was always going on. Many times in movies, nothing important is happening that we're not seeing. In this film, it seems like things are going on in this beach at all times, and we're not necessarily seeing every single thing that's happening. Sometimes the camera is trying to keep up with everything that's going on, just like the characters on the beach. This really added to the frantic confusion and feel of everything that was going on here. The beautiful locations definitely didn't hurt things either, but the way that these beautiful locations were shot was extremely interesting too. Regardless of what you think about the story of this movie, it looks great. Something else that looks great is the effects, and many of them seem to be practical. Sure, we get a few CGI shots here or there of things that would be a bit more difficult to do practically, but many of the effects are done through makeup, and it's all primo work. Now, there is one scene in particular that utilizes CGI quite a bit concerning a character in a cave, and it's done very well, but holy shit, this is one of the most disturbing scenes in the whole fucking movie. I don't want to say what it is and what's going on, but as it's happening, not just what we're seeing and the absolutely horrific images that we get, but just the entire implication behind what's happening here is just kind of horrifying. This idea and scene was the classic M. Night Shyamalan that we've all been wanting to see again. The biggest effect that this movie has is conveying to us, the audience, that these characters are aging at an accelerated rate. Not so fast that you necessarily like see them physically aging as the seconds go on. It's more like as the minutes go on. In one scene, a character looks a certain way, and then a few minutes later, they kind of have a little bit more gray in their hair or a couple more wrinkles. It's very subtle. And then next thing you know, 20 minutes later, you look and you're like, holy crap, that person looks like a lot older than they did earlier. It's really subtle, and I applaud the filmmakers for this great effect. Obviously, for the younger characters, it's a bit more noticeable because they do go through quite a few more changes during adolescence, and they end up using different actors to portray different ages in these kids' lives. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how good your makeup effects are, they ain't gonna make a 6-year-old look like he's 30. But that effect actually worked to the movie's benefit, because at first you only notice the kids aging because it's so so noticeable, but not the adults, which was much more subtle. Overall, just some really great effects here in a fantastic looking film. The movie's also got a pretty good pace. It moves at a really nice clip. Now me myself, I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for single location films, and I like seeing how creative filmmakers can get to keep a good pace going and keep things interesting in such a confined space. And Shyamalan does do that here. He keeps the story moving forward. Many of the questions that normal people would have about this place and trying to get out and what's going on do come up, and we do get answers to certain degrees, such as the reason as to why they can't leave. We get a pretty good reason as to why they can't get off of this beach. However, I will say at one point a character does bring up a pretty compelling, sound idea about beating this barrier to get out of the beach. The guy comes up with a pretty good idea, and then it's just never brought up again. And I'm thinking to myself, why wasn't somebody trying this thing at least while everybody else was trying all these other things? Sure, it wouldn't be the most visually appealing thing to see someone do this, but we wouldn't have to watch the person do it the whole time. I don't get it. While the movie did answer a lot of questions, this was the one thing that was brought up that actually made sense that the movie just never went back to. Now, with all that praise being said, there is one aspect of the film I haven't touched on yet, and that would be the performances and the dialogue. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's the performances or if it's the dialogue, but one of them is pretty fucking bad. I kind of want to lean towards the dialogue because many of these actors that we've gotten have done fantastic jobs in the past. But on the flip side of that, we've seen great actors turn in shit performances many times before. And that could come down to bad directing, but Shyamalan has proved in the past that he does know how to get good performances out of his actors. So I'm not 100% sure of what it was. If it's a mix between the performances, the direction, and the dialogue, or if it's just the dialogue, just the performances, just the direction, I don't know, but one or all of them are pretty fucking bad. Like, so bad that it really taints the movie. This is absolutely the worst performed, whatever that reason is, this is the worst performed M. Night Shyamalan movie I've ever seen. Now, there are some scenes where the performances come through and they're not bad, but there are a whole lot of them that they just seem extremely stilted, unnatural, and just kind of corny and goofy. Like, it's really bad. And you could say that, well, some of these performances might be because you have older characters playing younger characters. Like some of the young kids, when they age up, mentally they're still 6-year-old kids. And yeah, I could give you that one maybe, but there are points in the movie where these exact same characters don't talk that way. Many of the performances here are very exaggerated and over the top, but not in that good way. It's more of kind of a cringe way. Like, it's really bad, like so bad that it affects the movie negatively a lot. Even the usually great Alex Wolff and Rufus Swell are both just really kind of bad here. Like I said, I don't know if it's the dialogue or the actual performances or maybe a little bit of both. But whatever it is, it's bad and it really does hurt the film. Guys, at the end of the day, Old was a really interesting premise with a very intriguing story that just had some really fucking bad performances that really drug it down. It's a very intriguing narrative that looks fantastic with some really interesting camera work throughout. But holy shit, these performances are just that, shit. And honestly, if the performances had been better, I'd probably be telling you to go spend some money on this thing. But as it stands, at best, check out Old on streaming.
Across the street.
While that's not the worst rating there is, it still kind of pains me because the idea, the premise, and everything else that went into this movie is kind of cool. But man, these performances are so fucking bad. They are like cringe-worthy from the beginning all the way to the fucking end. If you can handle that though, and trust me, it's pretty tough at times, there is an interesting movie and idea here to be had. So when it comes to streaming and you're looking for about an hour and a half to kill one evening, check out Old and you'll have a reasonably good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Old. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys. Or maybe join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, San Flan.
Oh no, we're here for a reason.
So I know I'm a little late to the party on this review. I was supposed to see the movie last weekend, but something came up and I was unable to. And while I've tried to stay away from other reviews, I have seen the thumbnails that other YouTubers have been putting, and it's like everybody is putting that old picture of them that they use that app to like make themselves look old on. And I'm just gonna say, before I even make the thumbnail to this video, I refuse to do that. There will not be some old man Jake picture in the thumbnail of this video. I'm bucking the trend, and I'm not gonna be like everybody else. I'm gonna blaze my own path. That and, you know, I don't have that app, but I'm blazing my own trail.